For us, COVID was just huge. I mean, we just originally didn't know how we were going to reach patients, how you can keep your doors open when you don't know how you're going to see people. And so we had to think about how we could do that. And then behavioral health. The lack of providers and lack of access, we really want to be able to serve our communities, and we had to figure out how to do that, and telehealth has been an amazing answer to that.
Horizon does just basic community mental health, so we kind of get an array of diagnoses. Anything really, whatever people come in with is what we treat. And I typically use the same type of therapy modalities that I would use if I was in office.
If we think back at how we used to go to the doctor, never in a million years could we have dreamed that I could sit in my home or sit in a clinic, hundreds of miles away and still be able to see my doctor. So I think COVID, as bad as it was, actually made us think of how we could better utilize resources. And so telehealth is huge.
For me, and I think because I'm younger, it helps that I grew up with a generation of technology. So I feel honestly the same as if I was sitting in the office with the person, just because I think I have that background. And for me, I don't necessarily need to be physically there to make that connection.
When I first thought about telehealth, especially when I thought about behavioral health and the counseling piece, to me, I'm like, how do you make that personal connection? And is it going to work? And are people going to feel like you're still doing a good job when you're sitting over a computer screen? And I think it truly is all about the way you build the rapport and the communication, and patients really do appreciate the ability to be able to do that. And I think it was a challenge for me to overcome, but I think I'm learning how to do that, and I really still feel like I can make a connection without being in the same room or being able to touch patients.
My patients, when they do a telehealth visit, some are more apprehensive about it than others, I would say for sure, but most of them I think are very open to the idea once they kind of get in the room or start the video. I will say usually like the first 5 minutes is just a little bit of that awkward tension that you would probably still have in office too, but for sure I think for the most part, they're very open to it.
It's difficult to sometimes making those visits still seem like a personal connection, and I think that's something that as a provider, you just have to work on. If I think of the older population, my father would never in a million years think that he could do an appointment sitting at home on his phone. And so I think trying to reach people and make them understand that it's still, you can have a personal connection without me having to be able to touch you. So you still can make that connection and you can still do a good job where you don't have to be in the same room.
I became interested in telehealth, I think, when I took a therapy position in the beginning, not even at Horizon. I think I knew going into that telehealth was going to be a big part of it, just because we did just get over COVID. People are still getting back into in-person things, but I think, again, we are in 2022, technology is rising. It's just kind of, for me, it's normal, and it was expected that being a therapist, I was going to have to do telehealth.
I would like just more people to realize that telehealth is a real thing, and it's a legitimate way to deliver health care and care for mental health issues. And just because we're not in the same room doesn't mean you're not getting the same quality care. And I think if people understand that, it might be better utilized and patients are going to be better served. I think 100% we're going to continue to utilize telehealth. I think telehealth is going to grow. Just our behavioral health program alone has grown significantly just from the use of telehealth. I think family practice, we've utilized that a lot when we have providers out, so that clinic doesn't have to close its doors for the day. They can actually still continue to see patients. So I think I only see the use of telehealth growing. We really want to be able to serve our communities, and we had to figure out how to do that, and telehealth has been an amazing answer to that.